I'm going to call this meeting of COVID-19 Special Committee to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
You have me today, Mr. President.
Mr. Clerk, please call
Yes,
the roll.
I may not look as good, but I can read. Alderwoman Davis. Alderman Vaccaro.
Present.
Alderwoman Tamika Hubbard. Alderwoman Hubbard. Right. Alderwoman Ingrassia.
Present.
Alderwoman Murphy.
Here.
Alderman Coatar.
Here.
Alderman Muhammad. Alderman Oldenburg.
Present.
Alderwoman Pam Boyd.
Here.
Alderwoman Middlebrook. Alderwoman Shameen Hubbard.
Here.
President Reed.
Here.
Alderwoman Tamika Hubbard. Alderman Muhammad. Alderwoman Middlebrook. You have 8 present. A quorum is present.
Quorum being present, Mr. Clerk, should we hold on the motion to excuse to the end of the meeting, given that we aren't sure if one or the other alderman will be.
Alderwoman Middlebrook may make it here, but she's in another committee hearing.
All right, so let's hold on the motion to excuse to the very end of the agenda. I entertain a motion on approval of the minutes.
Second.
I move that we approve the minutes from Tuesday, September 22nd.
Moved by the Alderman from the 6th, seconded by the Alderman from the 27th. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Alderman from the 7th will hold on your board bill to give your people a time enough to get here. I see Mr. Conway is here from the mayor's office. So let's give him an opportunity to cover give us an update on what they've returned with. Mr. Conway. Mr. Conway. Alderman Coatar, would you please text Conway?
Sure.
Tell him to come back to us. I see his computer screen there, but he stepped away for a second, right when we needed him.
And Ben Borgmeyer was just asking, Tony, have you had a chance to text to send the Zoom link to the election board officials?
Yes, I sent them.
Okay.
Oh, there he is. There he is. We're ready for you, Mr. Conway.
All right. I thought you were going to do that board bill first. What would you like?
Just give us an update on what you've sent over and where you are since our last discussion.
Okay, bear with me. I'm cleaning my glasses. Okay. So what we did was I guess I can take the mask off. Previously, what we had done was we had all of the department heads that were the impacted departments talk and answer the alderman's questions regarding the usage of the funds within their CARES Act and what they believe was their service group. We formalized it a little bit. We sent you, or sent to the clerk, and I assume it's been distributed. It actually written out in black and white on each program. And so they have it there in front of it. Much of the CARES Act monies are being spent on citywide programs. And I would think it's either the service group is everybody in the city, like for administrative costs in the health department, or the people that are disproportionately impacted by the CARES Act. by the COVID-19. And we put that link there so that you can see who's being impacted by COVID. So, and in many cases, we don't have the right or the ability, or the people won't provide it, demographic data. And so in cases where they didn't provide it, or like in the case of the housing cluster, very few people provided, 20% voluntarily provided race or gender information. But we did go ahead and show of the people that responded, it's included in here, of the people that responded, what their demographic data looked like. So one of the best things, and I think for the alderman, is they want to make sure that the funds are being spent where needed. And in many cases, I can legally get the zip code data on the funds that are being spent. And that can show you, but then in the case of the child care funds, we're able to actually fine tune it down to neighborhood by neighborhood. The business grants, we got it all the way down to wards. But so people can see the data that's in that report. And so every report and everything that's available that we could pull, we put in there.
All right.
So I'm open to questions, Mr. President.
All right, so we'll go around. Alderwoman Davis, any questions? Alderman Vaquero, any questions?
No questions.
Alderwoman Ingrassia, any questions?
No questions, but thank you for putting this together for us, Steve. I appreciate it.
Alderwoman Murphy, any questions?
No questions. I do like the report. Thank you.
Okay. Alderman Coatar, any questions?
No questions.
Alderman Muhammad, any questions? Alderman Oldenburg, any questions?
No questions.
Alderwoman Boyd, any questions?
I do have a question. When I was reading over it, Steve, I know 63136 has county and city. Is it a way you all can decipher that zip code for the city? Because I didn't see that in the report.
And I'm sorry, which program? Because I know on the heat up, and let me just look. They had indicated to me, I got 3.7, that I did have a couple of overlaps, but we're missing. I see 6.3.
Huh?
I do not see 63136 on that, so I can double check that.
And I saw it wasn't in with the housing part either, the mortgage assistance or rental assistance. And so, like I said, I do know it overlaps with the county. So I didn't know if you all had a way to decipher between city and county.
Well, let me see. Well, no, on the I'm sorry, on the cool down heat up, on the very last page, 15. He actually was able to pull that out.
Okay.
Now on the housing one, the technical thing is we're using United Ways software. It's called Unitas. And we'll have to get in there and look at their software to get an idea of why that may or may not be there.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I had.
Yeah, we did work. There's a lot of zip codes that are both city and county, believe it or not.
Right. Right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Alderwoman Middlebrook, any questions?
No questions. Thank you.
All right. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, any questions?
No questions. Thank you.
Mr. Conway, we also requested an additional $1 million be added for small business relief. Can you give us an update on that?
Okay, I know that Rob Orr reached out and sent the committee members and you kind of where he thought he was at, that he could use another $250,000. We would be happy to accommodate that all way round, maybe do more than that. In many cases, a lot of the people did not qualify because they haven't paid their taxes or they don't have the right licenses. So we are interested in doing that. We'll have to put it on E&A agenda. I'll talk to Todd to make sure that we get that on there, but we'll at least do what Rob says that he still thinks he can spend with respect to that program.
And it will be on the next E&A agenda.
Yes, either, you or, I'll get Todd to get that on there.
All right, thank you.
But you just tell me what, we'll do it more than 250. I think you saw what Rob sent us. We'll do it more than 250, like 350, just to make sure that there's room in case new ones come in.
All right. Any further questions from any member of the committee for Mr. Conway? Any further questions? Thank you, Mr. Conway, for your update.
And then we'll have the full spreadsheet update, another 8 or 9 days. I'm trying to do it every 30 days. So we'll have that for you. And then the next time, this summary will coincide and sync with that.
All right. Thank you.
Have a nice day.
All right. Alderman Coatar, you're recognized on Board Bill number 134.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the committee. Board Bill 134 would authorize the election board to spend grant money that was recent to accept and allow us to appropriate grant money that was recently awarded to the St. Louis City Board of Elections. I see Ben Borgmeyer, the new Democratic Director of Elections, is here with us on Zoom, and I think we'll have a few things to say. But I can talk generally about the bill. Just a couple of weeks ago, the election board was awarded $1.034 million by a group called the Center for Tech and Civic Life, which is technically out of Chicago. It's a nonprofit funded primarily by Mark Zuckerberg and his wife, Priscilla Chan, with the goal of assisting local election authorities, LEAs as we call them, across the country really with preparing for the general election this year in light of the sort of increased costs and the increased amount of absentee and mail-in balloting. So I've been working with Ben for the last few weeks on their plan and sort of talking to some folks from the Center for Tech and Civic Life that I know, and we were able to get the election board just over $1 million. We're not the only election board or only LEA in Missouri. There's about 30 or so in Missouri that applied for and received grant money in both Republican and Democratic counties. So I think this money is going to go a long way towards helping with some, I know some budget issues that the election board was facing. If you've got the board bill, the copy of basically the breakdown of how they plan to spend the funds is attached. But sort of I'll go through the categories generally, and then I'm sure Ben can answer more specific questions. They're planning on using $373,000 and change for some of their absentee ballot processing. We're seeing a huge increase in absentee balloting this cycle. It is time consuming and expensive to process those ballots, to basically have the bipartisan teams review them, sort them, verify the voters' information. So that's a whole long process that starts the Thursday before the election and is quite, requires a lot of manpower. There's a number, there's four absentee in-person voting locations in addition to the election board that opened, I think, Ben, you can correct me, I think yesterday. They've got to staff those. That's expensive, so that's about $80,000. I think there's, in light of COVID-19 and the increased sort of risk of serving as an election judge, which we certainly need election judges and poll workers. I know the election board's allocated about $570,000 for pay, increased pay for those folks. And then there's an additional about $10,000 for some drop boxes and other things at the election board. That's sort of general breakdown. I think this is great and obviously somewhat time sensitive, hence rushing it to this committee hearing at such a date. We want to get this money appropriated so they can spend it before the election, which is in 20-something days. With that, I will turn it over to Ben Borgmeyer to fill in any details before we take some questions.
All right, thanks. Welcome, Ben.
Hi, hello, how are you? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
We're really looking forward to using this money to upgrade kind of existing infrastructure. And the idea is to make sure the result is secure, safe. So updating kind of the way we, our operation department deploys equipment on election day. I mean, also as far as upgrading equipment with in-house to try to just provide just much needed upgrades to what we have existing here. So we're really looking forward to receiving this money and to deploying it.
And I would add, Chairman, before we open it up for questions, you know, the election board has many needs, especially on the, you know, the voting equipment side. You know, one of the challenges here is, as part of the grant, it had to be, if you're going to purchase technology with it, it had to be technology you could implement and deploy for this 2020 election, which obviously, given the close date we have, you know, it would have been impossible to like upgrade all the voting, ask for more money to upgrade all the voting equipment in such a short period of time. So I know Ben put a lot of thought into sort of what tech could he upgrade and deploy before election day. And I know he's working closely with the supply commissioner to get those items ordered and in the door as soon as possible.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Ben, before we open it up?
I mean, I could give specific examples, but I mean, I'm willing to answer any question. Like, you know, one of the items on there is these security cages. Those items would be for every polling place. Every item that would be used to staff the polling place would be putting these cages. So to make for easy deployment, for secure deployment, and to facilitate the ease in setting up polling places. So just trying to think of from an operations standpoint, and then as far as the upgrade stuff, like things that like poll pads, things like that, processing equipment, things that can be upgraded and used for the next election. Then also some of that, Mr. Jack spoke to some of the poll worker money. You know, poll workers in the city of St. Louis are keenly aware of what other poll workers make. And so the idea is so that gives us we are behind the ball kind of on the county and trying to recruit poll workers because of that deficit. So that would to increase that so we can try to recruit more poll workers to staff the polling place on election day. And that is crucial because the more poll workers we have, the more better voters can be processed through the polling place. And with COVID in mind, that is kind of crucial. So those are kind of the major expenses there.
Okay. All right. That will open it up for questions. Alderwoman Davis, any questions? Alderman Vaquero.
I have no questions.
Okay. Alderwoman Ingrassia.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thanks, Ben, for being on. Hi, Gary.
Good morning.
I was looking through the list of what is approved to be funded, and there's a mention of a citywide letter. Has that gone out yet?
Yes, we did send a citywide letter last Wednesday detailing absentee voting places, and then there's also going to be a citywide mailing closer to the election.
Okay, excellent. And then was there any conversation about updating the satellite absentee locations with technology that would allow you to print ballots for any polling place in any ward instead of having people use electronic ballots?
So the that conversation would require basically redesigning our entire infrastructure for voting. And so, I mean, that is something we discussed, but as far as within the short time frame, it was not possible to do. One thing we did though update is the poll pads. And so it went from basically, I'm not sure of the system, but to a cellular system where all the poll pads are essentially talking to each other and checking voters. So that is something that we have upgraded, and this money would cover that.
Okay, do you have an estimate of the cost of what it would, if we upgraded the entire system to allow for printing multiple ballots at any polling location?
Well, so it would be a huge process, but probably a couple million. Yeah. Well, it would cost at least $3 million to do
Okay.
it.
Okay. And then my last question is, do you have the numbers from August on bad ballots that were turned in, mail-in ballots or absentee ballots?
So at my fingertips, I do not, but I ran an analysis of it maybe 2 weeks ago. And I think that the number of ballots were rejected for envelope problems was 0.07%. So 0.7%. So it was a very small number. But I don't have the numbers right at my fingertips. I could get it for you right now if you want, if you have 30 seconds.
I don't think I need them right now. I'm just curious. We had been talking about a process by which there would be a way for ballots to be checked and voters to be contacted if they, did turn in a ballot that was invalid. What does your process look like for that? Because I think it's must have changed, and I haven't heard back from you guys on that yet.
So we are in the process now of checking ballot envelopes. For example, yesterday I spoke to a woman and coordinated with her coming back in and signing her ballot envelope. It's something we're constantly doing. But what we're going to have to do, and part of that grant money, we will hire more workers to check those issues and contact voters. And that's part of, kind of the bipartisan thing here. We will hire more people in-house, and we will supervise them and make sure that these voters are getting contacted.
Do you think you have enough time between now and November 3rd to hire and train people appropriately?
Yes.
Okay, no further questions. Thanks.
All right, thank you. All right. Alderwoman Murphy.
Yes, thank you. Most of my questions were asked and answered, but in reference to the checking the ballots, the League of Women Voters will help you with that. Contacting people with bad ballots. I know that for a fact because my sister does it. And then just one question. You mentioned poll worker pay. What is ours in comparison to surrounding areas?
So our standard poll worker, the election judge, makes $125. Okay. St. Louis County, my understanding is I think the standard poll worker makes, I want to say $200. Our election, then what we call tech specs, the technical people who man each polling place, they make $150. Poll managers make $150, and then the roving deputies who go from within the ward, they make $150 as well. I think across the board, St. Louis County, each of those similar positions makes $75 more. Then they are also giving a bonus out for this election too, and I think they're giving each worker an additional $100. So what we're proposing is giving each of our workers, so $125, taking that up to $225, and then for managers, techs, deputies, taking that up to $250. That's what we're trying to give our workers this election.
Okay, very good. Thank you. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Coatar, I guess we'll hold you to the end. Alderman Oldenburg.
I have no questions, Mr. President. Thank you.
All right, Alderwoman Boyd.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have questions because Alderwoman Murphy has spoke about the League of Women Voters were volunteering to come to count and help you all with the ballots. And so you all came up with a plan. It's my understanding you came up with a plan and then you reneged and said, no, you're not doing the plan. So you don't have the space that you thought you had originally, or what was the reasoning behind it? First question. And second question, I know you have a lot of malfunction ballot boxes or ballot election machines, because I know in our area they break down constantly. And so we're looking for a high turnout in November election. So how are you all addressing this? Is this grant going to cover any of that to replace those dysfunctional ballot machines?
So let me speak to that first. So as far as the space, part of that money, the grant money we're requesting, is to rent additional space in the building where we're at to provide additional space for workers. And then also that grant money too would cover employing additional people to cover that need for contacting voters where there's ballot envelope issues. So does that answer the first part of your question?
So with the League of Women Voters willing to volunteer to do it, so you don't want their service, you rather pay the people to do it and try to get people in time to backtrack.
We really prefer the bipartisan presence in everything that we do, Alderwoman. The offer by the League of Women Voters was very generous. I know they did that for the county in August. I don't know that they're doing it this November, in part because the ballots, the envelopes are more clearly marked. But we like the idea of having the bipartisan presence in everything that we do. We like other opportunities to work with the League. We're constantly looking for ways to do that in the community, but for right now, we think we're going to be fine with the teams that we'll have.
So you have enough staff to check the ballots and call people as of now, as
Yes.
of today.
Yeah, that's true. And you know, that up until not really election day, but if a ballot comes in that either does not contain a voter's signature or where the envelope is not notarized, if it has to be notarized, then we're making every effort to contact those voters to give them the opportunity to come down here and correct that problem, which they can do either by signing if they didn't sign, or if they didn't have it notarized. Our staff, we are election officials, we are authorized to witness a voter's signature on the return envelope.
Okay. And then on the machines themselves, or you are looking at replacing any of those machines?
Not specifically with this grant money, because those particular machines, while they've been serving us well, you can't find them. We can't go out and buy new ones. We do have a stockpile in reserve, and so every polling place is going to have one optical scan and 2 to 4 touchscreen machines, but we have additional machines at the ready. So if a given machine malfunctions at a polling place on election day, the technical specialist is trained to address that. But if he or she can't do it like right away, then we pull that one out of service. We still have the others available, but then we can send out a replacement tablet for the touchscreen machine or a replacement scanner for the optical scan machine. And we will have staff strategically located south, central, and north that can get to any polling place very quickly to address those kinds of concerns. Now, we'd love someone down the road to replace the whole system, but that's an expensive proposition, not something that can be done in a short-term basis.
Okay. All right. And then the last thing is not a question. It's just to acknowledge I had taken some voters down to walk in to vote, and they were scared when they first went down, but it was a very easy process. And so thank you, your staff. They kept complimenting the staff, and they said they had a smooth transition and was able to vote and get right back out.
Thank you very much.
You're
We'll certainly hear that. Yeah, well, we appreciate that.
Yeah, so thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Alderwoman Middlebrook.
I have no questions. Thank you.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
I just had a quick question just to clarify, because I know you said some of the money will be used to hire people, but then I know Alderwoman Boyd, the answer to her question was that you were already fully staffed. So just for clarification, do you have positions open? And if you do have positions open, can you get some information to us so that we can try to get some people in there to apply?
Sure. The answer is yes, to be sure. And in particular, we are always looking to beef up our poll worker staff. And so we can send you information about that. Part of the grant money has been alluded would be used to pay them more this time. That money won't be available come springtime, but that's a future election. But the more hands that we have available, the more hands will be at the polling place. So even if we have people down here in reserve as alternates, when we reach that point, we know we've got all the basics covered. We will send out the alternates to assist in social distancing, maintaining line control, just being a presence to facilitate the voting process in the polling place on election day.
Okay, so just for right now, until we get the information, rather if someone wants to apply, do they just come down to the Board of Elections or what they do?
You can just have them email me or call me.
Okay, great.
All right. You have that. You have that.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Alderman Muhammad, any questions of the election board and the grant funds?
No, Mr. President, I have no questions. I did see the grant fund. Thank you for emailing it out. I have no questions.
Okay. Any further questions or comments? Any further questions or comments?
Mr. President,
Alderman from the 6th.
thank you. I just wanted to clarify for the record that the League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization that offered to have nonpartisan volunteers at the Board of Elections to assist. And St. Louis County did request their assistance again for November after the good experience they had with them this past August. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any further questions or comments? Any further questions or comments? Alderman from the 7th, you recognize the close on Board Bill 134.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board, and Gary and Ben, thank you for your work putting this together quickly and being with us today. And I know you've got a lot going on. I would ask for everyone's favorable consideration of Board Bill 134. Mr. President, would you like me to make a motion?
I'll ask another member of the committee to make a motion.
I'll make the motion that we pass Board Bill with a due pass recommendation.
All right, it's been moved by the Alderman from the 23rd, seconded by the Alderman from the 21st, and the Alderman from the 13th, that we pass Board Bill number 134 with a due pass recommendation. Madam Clerk, are you with us, or is it Mr. Clerk?
I am with you guys now.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Davis. Alderman Vaquero.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hubbard. Alderwoman Ingrassia.
Aye.
Alderwoman Murphy.
Aye.
Alderman Coatar.
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad.
Aye.
Alderman Oldenburg.
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd.
Aye.
Alderwoman Middlebrook.
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Aye.
President Reed.
Aye.
10 I vote.
By your vote, you sustain the motion. Alderman from the 23rd and adopted item 134 with a due pass recommendation. I think that's all the board bills for review. We do not have any resolutions for review. Also, I want to just thank the Board of Elections for all their work. You guys do a phenomenal job for, the citizens of the city of St. Louis. And I don't think you are recognized enough for that. So I want to thank you all for that, for all the work that you do. Items for discussion. One of the items that I want to put up for us to consider is to send out a survey to the city employees and also the department heads to see what their experience has been with COVID, and to the department heads to see if there are additional resources that they may need and what their thoughts are, and to the city employees to see if there's anything that we could do to make their work experience better and make it a safer work experience. So part of what I'm asking the committee to do today is to consider that. And if we would like to send a general survey out, we just send it through email or whatever. We can send it out. If we have all of the questions ready by Friday, we could send it out to the city employees and department heads on Monday. to try to get their general sense of where we are on everything, and if there are other things that we can do to help their work experience and the departments at large. So I'm throwing that out for discussion.
I think that's a great idea, Mr. President, and I would be happy to help get something put together this week.
Okay, so
I'd be glad to work on it too. And so I guess my question is, we're asking the employees, how do they feel that their managers have ensured that their department is complying with COVID and ensuring the safety of them as employees?
yeah, we can ask it like that, or we can ask it in more of a positive, more of a positive neutral sense to say,
Okay.
you know, what kind of things would help create a safer, better work environment for you, right? With COVID.
Okay.
And, you know, do you feel like we are, the current things that we have in place are working for you and your family? So we can tailor them in different ways to get back, you know, the needed information that we need to act on here at the committee in terms of assuring that we have a safe work environment for the employees, and the department heads are receiving all the resources they need. They may not,
Okay.
we don't know.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any further discussion on that item? If there isn't any further discussion on it, I would like to ask if we could take a vote to collect information from the committee members by Friday, and then submit something first part of the week next week, just a general survey out to city employees and to department heads.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, you need a motion?
Yes, yes.
I make a motion that
Second.
Okay.
Thank you, Alderwoman.
It was moved by the Alderwoman from the 27th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 26th, and the Alderwoman from the 13th. All in favor signify. I guess we'll just take a roll call. It'd be easier. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Davis. Alderman Vaccaro.
Aye. And my video won't turn on, but aye. Since the host has my video blocked.
All right.
Alderwoman Hubbard. Alderwoman Ingrassia.
Aye.
Alderwoman Murphy.
Aye.
Alderman Coatar.
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad.
Aye.
Alderman Oldenburg.
Aye. Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd.
Aye.
Alderwoman Middlebrook. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Aye.
President Reed.
Aye.
9 aye votes.
I vote stay in the motion, all the one from 27th. So I'll have my office send out an email to all of you soliciting, questions. If you can have all those in by Friday, we will work to have the surveys, both surveys ready to go by Monday and get it out to the department heads and all city employees. Any further discussion items? Any further discussion items? All right. So we're going back to the motion to excuse. Alderwoman Boyd, you drew the short straw because your mic is still on. Madam Clerk, do you have for us a list of members to excuse for today's meeting? I know Alderwoman Davis.
And Alderwoman Hubbard.
Alderwoman Davis and Alderwoman Hubbard. Alderwoman Boyd, would you like to make a motion to excuse Alderwoman Davis and Alderwoman Hubbard?
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to excuse Alderwoman Davis and Alderwoman Hubbard for necessary absence.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 27th. Entertain a second on that motion. Seconded by the Alderman from the 13th and Alderman from the 23rd. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carry. Opposed, excuse me. Motion carries. All right. Any further, any announcements? Any announcements? No announcements? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr.
I'll make the
President,
motion,
I'll
we
make them
adjourn.
second.
Second.
Moved by the Alderman from the 23rd, seconded by the Alderman from the 27th, and Alderman from the 21st that we adjourn today's meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you all for your work today.